2022 put Trinity University on a new stage. Here, on the national level, the lights are brighter, the stakes are higher, our voices reach further. There's no script for this type of moment, and at Trinity, that's how we've always shined. We are led beyond the conventional by an inexhaustible curiosity, a sense of perpetual discovery where no answer is too tough to question, and no question is too big to answer. We do not settle for textbook definitions of scholarship and achievement. We redefine the liberal arts. We strive for an inclusive excellence that wastes no potential and leaves no tiger behind. Connected to our community of supporters. Connected to our place in a vibrant city, not only by the legacy of what we have been, but also by a joint vision for what we now can be. A united force in motion. A university who imbues its people with an ability to perform and transform in unprecedented and unexpected ways. Now nationally ranked, reclassified, and under the guidance of a new president, Trinity stands on a new platform. But we are still speaking, as we always have, from the heart. And we are still standing on a rock-solid foundation, raised by generations of inspired hands and minds before us. Our stage is boundless. Our future is unscripted. Now watch us shine.
I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who think critically, act meaningfully, and contribute confidently throughout their careers. As for San Antonio, Trinity is an oasis in the heart of a city that serves as a cultural bridge to the Americas. We are a diverse community that values inclusion and welcomes intellectual curiosity and spirited debate. We're a city that challenges convention and welcomes new ideas. Great things are happening at Trinity University, in San Antonio, and through all our connections to our multicultural world. Join me in being part of this exciting moment.
Texas is a big state. From Canyon to Brownsville, from El Paso to Beaumont. But tonight, we are focused on the two largest cities in the Lone Star State, San Antonio and Houston. Trinity against St. Thomas. The undefeated Celts in conference play against the Tigers, who have won 9 in a row. Braxton Berry gets the tip to A.J. Clark, and we are underway in San Antonio, Texas. The 14th ranked Celts in town to face the Red Hot Tigers. I'm Brian Yanselson, joined again by Reed Rosales. We are both pumped up for this matchup that has created a buzz in Calgard Gym.
Yeah, cat fight in Calgard, Tigers and Celts, top of the conference. And it's a grudge match, for sure.
And the first possession for the Tigers goes like you might expect it to when you watch the St. Thomas Celts play defense. They have a stifling defense, best in the conference, allowing just 63 points per game. So that will be the key to watch, this explosive offense of Trinity that leads the conference in scoring against the top defense in the conference. First possession down to 4 seconds, and it'll be a backcourt violation to start things off for the Celts. The St. Thomas Celts out of Houston, starting Freddie Ricks III, Nick Anderson, Zach Golazewski, Calvin Williams, and Joshua Sanchez. Trinity Tigers, a familiar Braxton Berry, Jacob Harvey, Jacob Millhouse, A.J. Clark, and Abdullah Roberts. The Celts are 15-2 this year, 9-0 in conference play. The Tigers 14-4 and 7-2 in SCAC play. After a short stoppage for Freddie Ricks to get up, we are back in action. A minute gone by, no one on the board quite yet. Here is Harvey quickly off the screen, but two guys right on top of him, and another turnover, 2 possessions, 2 turnovers for the Tigers.
Yeah, this game's going to be very quick, very fast, and we're all here for it.
The Celts coming off a victory last night in Kerrville against the Shriner Mountaineers. The Tigers coming off an electrifying victory at home against the Centenary Gents. For the Tigers, that's 9 in a row. And they're looking to build that momentum with a big-time victory against a nationally ranked team. Berry defending down low, but not enough going up against Joshua Sanchez, who puts the Celts on the board first. Berry now backing up Sanchez the other way. Little rejection looked like from Sanchez, now tying up Berry, but it'll be a foul called against St. Thomas. First of the game.
Yeah, good defense from St. Thomas there in the paint.
The last time these two teams met, December 4th in Houston, the Celts coming out on top 77-63. It was the second loss in a row for the Tigers in conference play. Really got people worried about what was going on. But then since that mark, they have won each of their 7 games in the SCAC. But they are struggling to keep the ball early on. 3 turnovers on 3 possessions now. The Celts on top 2-0 with 2 minutes gone by in the Alamo City.
Yeah, and the Celts are the top of the conference for a reason. This team is going to play the Tigers very tough today.
Golazewski has the ball top of the key, gets it to Ricks, right back to the point guard. Now working in and out with this screen. Berry, nice job down low to force it back out to Williams. Step back is a little short. Nice defense by A.J. Clark. Now leading the ball the other way near the free throw line, charging hard, off the glass and in for A.J. Clark. Leading scorer for the Trinity Tigers last night, 18 points to go along with 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Trinity quickly into their zone defense. Both teams know it. Both teams expect it. Who will perfect it? Berry playing against Sanchez. Golazewski in the corner. Off the front of the rim. No good. Roberts rebound outlet to Clark. And he will take it straight to the bucket. Off to the right, however. And it'll belong to St. Thomas off the tip. So Clark wanting to play fast, but not working out quite like he wanted.
Yeah, good defense from the Celts. Good defense from the Tigers. They're keeping both sides from scoring a lot in the beginning of this first half.
The 63 points scored by the Tigers in Houston ties their lowest output of the year when they face St. Thomas. And so this defense certainly had them figured out in the Space City. We'll see what adjustments they've made here. Trying to get a fast break bucket. A.J. Clark tried to slam it down, but a great job by number 11, Anderson, to take it away from him mid-air. Coach Medina on the sideline, furious, thinks it should be St. Thomas basketball. But the referees staying strong with their decision, giving it to Jacob Milhouse to send it in. Harvey from deep. It's good. Jacob Harvey not wasting any time getting back going from the three-point line. He took a while to score yesterday, but he is the Tigers' leading scorer on the year for a reason. And Coach Smith wanting to get him the ball quickly. Now the other way, Golazewski can't get it going, and this is what the Tigers want to do. They're off and running, but again, Clark has it swiped away, and these hands are being active for the Celts as Clark goes to the rim.
Yeah, very physical game so far. And on that three and on Barry, screening, providing just enough protection to get that three off for Trinity.
Here Barry gets the pass off the inbounds. Clark setting up the offense. Roberts, top of the key. Harvey, open again. Can he get it again? Not quite. Bounces out for number 10. But a good look drawn up by Coach Smith. Golazewski has a good look himself. Too strong, but slammed back in by Calvin Williams. Nope, make it Nick Anderson there. My apologies. Excellent follow through on the missed shot. Nick Anderson, the freshman from League City, Texas, seeing a lot of playing time for the Celts. And on the other end, there is another three-pointer for Jacob Harvey, so it's 2 for 3 from 3. And if he is going, watch out. Chance of defense in CalGuard Gym, another great crowd filing in. On a beautiful Saturday night in San Antonio, Joshua Sanchez, great cut into Golazewski. Tigers have them trapped in the corner now. Down to 5 is the shot clock. Celts have to put it up. Williams has to see it. Too strong on the desperation heave. And here comes Harvey. Weaves through the defenders. Roberts collects it for him. Harvey feeling good. Short, though, off the front of the rim. Barry a little slow to get up. Running back defensively, and the Celts have it to Joshua Sanchez. Sees some space on top of Barry, but can't get it to go. Frantic opening minutes in San Antonio. Roberts pulls up from 3. His is no good. And Freddie Ricks trying to calm things down now into the hands of Calvin Williams. This is the pace St. Thomas wants to play. We've seen a little bit of the pace that Trinity wants to play. Another steal impacted by Clark. Can he slam this one? Won't slam it, but does finish it for 2 more. A.J. Clark has a quick 4. Yeah. And it is 10-4 Trinity.
Very nice play there from Clark.
Freddie Ricks looking for help. Now backs out, trying to set up his men. Golazewski again from the corner. This time it's true. Quiets down the gym for a moment.
Golazewski had been a bit quiet at the start.
Ten seconds passed on the shot clock as Clark calls for the Milhouse screen, a physical one at that. Now Clark swings it to Roberts for 3. Good for Roberts.
Just a bit too open. Roberts will always drain that shot.
Milhouse and Harvey meeting Golazewski at half court, but he does get it across. Calvin Williams awfully quiet here in the first 7 minutes. Gives it to Joshua Sanchez. Golazewski fakes the 3, trying to find a lane. Does, and then dishes it to Sanchez, who finishes it down low. Joshua Sanchez. Harvey, this time cutting. Roberts will try it again from deep. Off the iron. Rebound by Golazewski. They thought about going quickly for a moment, now backing it out and taking time to set up the offense. You see Goloszewski pointing, waiting. We are nearly 8 minutes past this game starting and no stoppage. We have not even had the media timeout yet. These teams came ready to play. Shot clock down to 4. Sanchez on Barry. Barry wins the defensive battle. Clark surveying his options. Bounce pass to Harvey in transition. Just to the left. No good for him. Barry goes straight up and swats it back in the face of Calvin Williams. He loves to do it. And finally, after 8 minutes, we would have had 2 media timeouts by now, Reed, but this is our first one with the Tigers up 13-9.
Yeah, both of these teams are very confident that they can win a shootout, a defensive game against each other. They're the top dogs in the conference, or I guess in this case, the top cats.
Can you tell that this is a big game for both teams?
Just a little bit.
The intensity is absolutely here in CalGuard Gym, and we have so much to bring you throughout this broadcast. Thankful for Jimmy Smith and Anthony Medina, both head coaches, talking to Tiger Network this week to set up this great matchup. Jimmy Smith in his 3rd season now with the Trinity Tigers. Crazy how time has gone flying by. And Anthony Medina in his 8th season as head coach. And he's been around for what seems like forever, seeing the Celts through their NCAA transition. And it's worth bringing up that transition right from the get-go, because we have gotten used to seeing St. Thomas over the last 3 years. But the one thing that they haven't been able to do is go to the NCAA playoffs. Transitioning from NAIA to Division III, they had that grace period to not go to the playoffs. But this year, a whole different story, Reed. They are in first place, and they have their sights set on the postseason for the first time.
Yeah, and they are going to look to make that push. The first St. Thomas team to make any NCAA tournament was their men's soccer team last year when they won that SCAC tournament. And the men's basketball team wants to say, hey, we're here too.
It's been a bit of an odd start to their SCAC tenure for St. Thomas. They had a great record their first year and couldn't play in the postseason tournament even for the conference. And then the last 2 years, they've won the SCAC championship, but have been prevented from playing later because of that rule in the NCAA. But if they keep playing the way they have been, certainly a trip to the playoffs might be guaranteed. Right now, they are down by 2 after the Andrew Wynn bucket out of the timeout. And a response by Harvey goes in for the 2. 15-11 with 11 minutes to go in the first half. We've got Angel Johnson now in there, as well as Wynn. Goloszewski, the starter, still there with Ricks and Williams. It'll be Kalen Anderson off the bench. He is denied by 4 black jerseys underneath, and Tanner Brown flying by the defense. Wynn gets his hand in there. And for what has been the 3rd or 4th time, a Tiger going to the basket has it taken away from them to the baseline.
Yeah, and this Celts defense, they are very stout. And even the most explosive offenses have to get past this wall somehow. And Trinity so far has taken the lead, but that can change in an instant.
The officials feeling the need to call the second media timeout since both teams made them miss it. So we're back in a stoppage here. Allows us to continue staying with you on Tiger Network and talking about this great matchup. Trinity 14-4, now 7-2 in the conference, and that big victory really yesterday, Reed. Tied in second place with Centenary, the grudge match as you called it, and they were able to pull it out to now be just 2 games back of St. Thomas with an opportunity to creep a little closer tonight.
Yeah, and it is oh so important to be either number 1 or 2 in the conference to get that bye in the SCAC tournament. The 3 to 6 seeds have never won in the SCAC tournament.
Yeah, and it was Chris Dorsey, the head coach of Centenary, that really emphasized that fact, saying that it is so tough to play 3 games in 3 days in the SCAC tournament. And so being the top 2 seeds, like you said, incredibly important. And both of these teams want to secure their spot right here in San Antonio, but with a day off to start the tournament. And it won't be easy for either side. Really having to earn every point against the St. Thomas defense that is one of the best in the conference and the country, but not fazed at all by it is Ty Williams. Freshly off the bench and freshly in the point column. Caleb Jenkins playing aggressive defense. And I think we're going to have to come up with some sort of nickname for the trio that is in right now. Tanner Brown, Caleb Jenkins, and Ben Hanley, traditionally starters, now coming off the bench for the second straight game together. What a counterpunch it is for Jimmy Smith to go to such experience off the bench.
Yeah, it just shows the Tigers' depth for this team. And it really shows that no matter who's out there, you cannot underestimate them, you cannot overlook them, because if you do, they're going to make you pay.
First free throw here, good for Andrew Adibo, the senior from Katy, Texas. Too much, though, on the second. And Hanley going quickly. Now stopped by Wynn. Nice defense there to force it back out for Trinity. Harvey now finding Hanley once again. Cutting right. Tough screen by Williams. Shot clock half gone, so Jenkins pulls up. No good on the three for Caleb Jenkins. Golozewski remains in there. He's been the lone Celt to be in there the whole time from start to now. Celt swinging it around, trying to go inside out, but they have not been able to against this zone thus far. And you see the active hands by Jenkins tipping it, and that one bouncing out. It'll go to Trinity off the loose ball. A.J. Clark will relieve Jacob Harvey. Ty Williams heading back to the bench in favor of Braxton Berry. And Caleb Jenkins bringing it in against some full court pressure shown by St. Thomas. A 5-point lead halfway through the first quarter. Hanley trying to add to it, and does. Scoop and score for Ben Hanley. Clark and Jenkins meet Golozewski. Nearly a turnover there at half court. The Celts hang on to it, though, and maintain possession here. Give it out to Johnson. Two-man game between him and Golozewski before it goes inside to Anderson. Jenkins, the closeout. Coach Smith wanted a travel. Instead, a swish three for Andrew Wynn. And he gives a little look to the Trinity bench after that one as well, as the Celts cut it to 4. Caleb Jenkins has it taken away, saved for the moment by Golozewski, and then steps out of bounds, so it'll stay with the maroon and white, wearing black tonight. Jenkins into Berry. Clark setting up deep into the paint, spinning left, but can't get it to drop in there. He had nice position, just couldn't close it. Anderson up against Berry. Berry has done a nice job so far this game, but this time Anderson gets the better of him for the layup. Tanner Brown finds Berry near the free throw line. It's taken away. Then Golozewski shoves down Jenkins, helps him come up. Numbers for the Celts. A three-pointer strong into the arms of Clark. Has trouble dribbling with it, though, and the Celts recover possession. Adibo handing it off to Golozewski. Wynn making an impact early off the bench. Gets it right back from Angel Johnson. Shot clock approaching 10. Adibo calling for it. Taking it into the chest of Clark. Down to 3 before a foul will bail out the Celts. Number 11, Tanner Brown, responsible for that one. And with 7:02 to go, 19 for Trinity, 17 for St. Thomas, and another media timeout. Everything we expected so far, Reed.
Exactly. This rivalry that is very close, despite it being so young. Only one road separating these two universities, and that's I-10. And this battle here, this battle for I-10, it's coming close. St. Thomas is clawing their way back. They're only 2 behind.
So do you think that's what we're going to call this rivalry officially?
I think it has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, battle for I-10. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Tiger Network dubbing St. Thomas versus Trinity the battle for I-10, the interstate connecting San Antonio and Houston, the 2 largest cities in the state, only worthy to have a Lone Star Showdown and a rivalry to go along with it. St. Thomas getting the most of the early matchups for sure. They're 5-2 all-time versus Trinity in the regular season, and then you add those 2 matchups in the previous 2 conference championships for a total of 7-2. It's been a little bit of a struggle for Trinity against their rivals from Space City, but you know what day it is today, don't you, Reed?
That's the end of Lunar New Year, isn't it?
End of Lunar New Year, but it's also January 21st of 2023, and on January 21st of 2022, exactly a year ago today, Trinity beat St. Thomas right here in CalGuard Gym. And so the Tigers definitely wanting to work that mojo once more and make January 21st a magical date against St. Thomas. We're out of the media timeout. Celts with the ball down 2. And Calvin Williams hands it off to Andrew Wynn. Williams, very surprisingly, still not on the board. Adebo puts up the mid-range, not a good look for him there. Short, but a board for the Celts. You could see Barry kind of daring Adebo to take that jumper, and we saw why. Celts down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Zach Fenn in to play great defense, and right away forces a turnover. Zach Fenn is a pest in all the best ways, leading the SCAC and 40th in the entire country in steals, more than 2 a game.
Yeah, such a good player, and for being so young on this team as well, he's certainly made himself a presence.
Yeah, it's easy to forget he's just a first year from Covington, Louisiana, making a massive impact in his short career. Someone who has had a long career here, Hanley, misses on the 3 from the near side corner. And both teams in a scoring drought. Trinity not scoring in 2.5 minutes. St. Thomas nearly right there with them. It's what we expected when you look at the numbers. St. Thomas forcing many of their opponents into these grinded out battles. And on that mid-range look, Calvin Williams getting on the board for his first 2. Trinity certainly has all eyes on him, coming off 20 points against Schreiner. Here, his defense coming up with a steal, and it's all tied up at 19 with the Celts trying to take their first lead. The ball staying outside the perimeter for much of these possessions. Wynn finally decides to put it up. Off on the 3 and gathered by Wynn, but then an easy floater of a pass. But Levine does a nice job after turning it over to get in the way of what could have been a highlight reel dunk. Nice job by number 1 to get in the way. Here's number 1 again, loses it, but gathers it again. Uses the Barry screen, kicks it to Hanley, wanting to go up. Lots of contact, and it'll be a blocking foul on St. Thomas.
Yeah, good job driving in, getting that foul.
Foul number 3, Andrew Adebo is first. Team foul number 2.
Just the second team foul to go against St. Thomas. It's been a very clean game in the foul department. St. Thomas shooting 36% from the floor. Trinity 44%. Few turnovers for each team. And overall, great defense with Hanley knocking down his first free throw to put Trinity back up. If you tuned in last night, you heard us talking about Ben Hanley, but worth repeating, missed 5 games in the middle of this season with an ankle injury. A very scary scene when he re-aggravated that ankle injury that he had surgery on a year ago, but looking good, back to his cutting and slashing style, and gets 2 free throws before heading to the bench. Jacob Milhouse coming in for number 3. The zone taking full court effect now. 7 seconds past the shot clock. Celts have to get it across, and they do. Coach Medina informing them of that situation. And now the half-court set. Fenn right in the face of Williams and snags it away from him. There is the first steal for Fenn, now taking it all the way himself. Should be off of Trinity, and it will be. St. Thomas wanted an offensive foul as well, but they'll still get the ball. But almost on cue, Reed, the steal from Zach Fenn against one of the best players in the country.
Yeah, Zach Fenn, like we've said before, he's so skilled. And this game has been moving very fast. And even though the score looks low, it has been very tough play from both defenses.
Fenn there again, getting in the face of Williams, now defended by Harvey primarily. That zone defense rotating out in the perimeter. Sanchez takes it to his left, off the board, down for 2 more. He's been a weapon early for St. Thomas, the senior from McAllen. South Texas in the house in the form of him. Clark from distance, that's good. He hasn't had the best year from deep, 29%, but he is certainly capable of hitting that type of shot. The defense all over St. Thomas. Williams has it. Fenn and Clark surrounding him. Now Sanchez dishing it down. Barry, excellent job not jumping, not getting the foul call. Instead, another block for him. And the Tigers trying to build on this, swinging it over to Harvey. A little off for him, unfortunately. And St. Thomas headed the other way, leaping midair is Williams for 2.
He's kept it to himself.
Clark turning the corner, trying to dump it down to Barry, but there were too many Celts in the way. A bucket would put St. Thomas on top. Ricks trying to do just that, and he certainly does. Freddie Ricks III, the senior from Cypress, Texas, did not play yesterday against Schreiner, 7 minutes against Colorado College, but he looks back and better than ever.
Yeah, and St. Thomas takes their first lead of the game, or their second lead of the game.
5 gold jerseys surrounding Harvey, leaves Milhouse open. He's off on the 3, and then a rough foul goes against Barry. Golazewski gets the rebound and the foul. There's 2:20 left in the first half. St. Thomas 26, Trinity 24. Trinity trying to break St. Thomas's defense that is just so stellar, but they're having trouble right now, shooting 41% from the floor, and it's playing a lot like the game in St. Thomas with one crucial difference. The offense still isn't there for Trinity, but in that game, the Tigers fell behind very, very early and trailed by 24 at the half. Even a second half comeback and a little flurry late couldn't cut it in to single digits, but it's a very different story in San Antonio today.
Yeah, St. Thomas, an explosive offense. The Trinity defense needs to whittle them down, tire them out, play physical, play tough, and eventually, when that offense slows down enough, Trinity can leapfrog them.
One thing the Tigers have in their favor, according to head coach Jimmy Smith, the ability to analyze their own film. Saying, of course you can watch film on an opponent, and you see other teams playing them, but there's nothing quite like seeing your own footage against the same opponent, especially, he says, when Trinity plays a unique zone and a unique style of play, trying to go so quickly all the time, that there's not many teams that really compare to Trinity's style. And so for them to be able to see the film and see how they did well and what they could fix, really important for them coming into the second round of conference play. The adjustments were there early, but St. Thomas has crept back into it and now on top by 2 out of this media timeout. Ricks lost his dribble, but it is no problem for Kalen Anderson, aiding him when he needed it most. The senior from League City, Texas, will shoot just the third free throw for the Celts today. Kalen Anderson has to be feeling good, coming off a season-high 19 points against Schreiner. His free throw bounces off the rim and no good. But he also added 10 rebounds for his first double-double of the season, and building on that today with 4 points in the first half. Levine, a nice move on Golazewski. Does it dribble in? No. Williams there for the second opportunity. It was knocked away, and he wanted a foul. Instead, it'll stay with the black jerseys with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
And if you're the Tigers here, you want to get some positive momentum going in to the end of this first half.
Nearly gave it away with a backcourt violation, and then they do give it up on the errant pass from Levine, who gives a stare to Harvey, but then they come together. High five there at center court. Just a miscommunication. But it is the 8th turnover for Trinity, and it'll give St. Thomas a chance to build this 4-point lead with a minute and a half to go in the first half. Golazewski into Sanchez. Williams, lots of contact there, and it's a charge. Ty Williams, the sophomore from Pearland, Texas, excited to see his hometown school and drawing the offensive foul to give Trinity the possession. Always the hardest call to make in basketball, charge or block. This time it goes in favor of the Tigers. Brown has it poked away. It'll stay with Trinity. Caleb Jenkins will come in now. Who will he replace? Looks like it'll be Griffin Levine. Couple of rebounds in 3 minutes for Levine. Gets a high five from Jimmy Smith. Hanley, the ball handler here, finds Harvey. Now Williams pumps from deep. Haven't seen much of that from him. Shot clock down to 5. Jenkins finds Williams. Can he make this 3? Nearly does. Harvey battles for the board, but it ends up with the Celts. Williams shoots it into Sanchez, taps it right back out to Golazewski. He has felt very comfortable right around there where he has the ball. Now finds a teammate, and too easy for Freddie Ricks. 5 points now. Contributes defensively, but the primary man there is Sanchez getting back in a hurry, and the last shot will belong to the Celts if they want it. Up 6 with 20 to go. They trailed most of this half, but they will go into the locker room up. The question is by how many? Williams has it. Clock under 10 now. Medina barking directions from the sideline. And here goes Williams up against Jenkins. Step back 3. Way over the mark. Not even close. 1 second left on the clock. Tigers will set up for a prayer here. Let's see what they draw up. Errant pass. And a mistake there by the Tigers because no time ticks off the clock. And the Celts should have it right there where Brown sent it in from. Medina aware of that right away. And so we've got a second left. Medina calling a timeout, sees what he can do with 1 second to go.
Yeah, a very errant pass. And you can't give St. Thomas these kinds of opportunities. Even if they come up empty-handed, you need to play St. Thomas very, very well, almost perfectly, in order to get past them.
They are the number 14 team in all of Division III for a reason. They have lost just twice, both of those losses by single digits against Redlands, and most recently against Hardin-Simmons by just 3. They are a dangerous squad, and they'll get 1 second to work with. Coach Medina trusting Freddie Ricks to send it in. Movement off the ball. The alley-oop goes out as the buzzer sounds. So a nice play, but it doesn't fall for St. Thomas, and it will be a 6-point lead for the red and gold of St. Thomas, 30-24 on top of Trinity. What a flurry it has been. It started with 8 straight minutes of play, now ended in a 9-0 run with the Celts taking a lead, holding on to it for a few minutes, and heading into the locker room with the advantage. We've got a great finish, no doubt, on the way, so stick around after the half. Just about 15 minutes as a break, and we'll be back with you on Tiger Network. Welcome back to Tiger Network, where the number 14 St. Thomas Celts, undefeated in conference play, have a 6-point lead over the Trinity Tigers. It's been a low-scoring first half. Nobody in double digits for either side, Reed, but there's been one big bright spot for the Tigers.
Certainly, and that bright spot is Jacob Harvey, 8 points right now. But Jacob Harvey, over this season, is leading the team with 13.8 points per game and shooting about 45% from the three-point line. It's the highest in the SCAC and 17th in Division III. He also leads the SCAC and is 12th in the nation in shooting, 91% from the free throw line. And last year, Harvey averaged 8 points per game, like he has right now. And that's about a third of the entire Tiger offense, which, along with the Celts, has seemingly been stuck in the mud in the first half.
I think stuck is a good way to put it. The Tigers were up 7 with 9 minutes to go, and after that mark, they scored just 5 points in the final 9 minutes, an 18-5 run by St. Thomas. More recently, a 9-0 run to end the half, and it finds them up 6 on the road, trying to keep that perfect mark intact. We'll see what both teams came up with in the locker room. And the first possession here for St. Thomas finds Williams over to Ricks. A three-pointer is down. Exactly the start head coach Anthony Medina was looking for. This is a St. Thomas team that leads the conference in three-point shooting, 37% from deep. Tries to rattle it home there, does Harvey. A jump ball underneath. It'll belong to the black jerseys of Trinity. Getting to talk to Anthony Medina, the head coach for St. Thomas this week, and he said playing Trinity's defense really forces you to earn every point. You don't usually get very easy layups or fouls that lead to free throws, as a foul called here on St. Thomas with Clark trying to get the ball. So he wanted to get good perimeter shooting, but in that first half, almost flipping the script on what he expected. 20 points in the paint for St. Thomas, getting a lot of good looks, and a majority of them coming from Joshua Sanchez, who leads the team with 6 points. In transition here is number 11, and the number is 2 for points. They can make it 3 if Nick Anderson converts off the turnover.
And if you're Trinity, this is not the start you want. St. Thomas continuing this run.
An ominous start for sure. Not even a minute past the second half. And St. Thomas expanding their lead by 6. They are up 12. Largest lead by far in the game. They led by 24 when these teams faced off in Houston at the half. Trinity whittled it down to 14. So far today, it is St. Thomas expanding it in the other direction. We'll see what response Millhouse with the ball can have. Finds Barry. Can he take his time and finish? Yes, he can. Really nice move by Braxton Berry for his first 2 points of the game. Lead down to 10 for the Celts.
Yeah, ending a nearly 6-minute scoring drought for the Tigers.
Something that is unheard of for the best offense in the conference. 77 points a game. They are high flyers. But the Celts defense allowing just 63 points a game, also the best mark in the conference, having the day thus far. The shot clock down to 3. Sanchez dumps it to the flying Anderson, and he has come out ready out of the locker room. The freshman from League City, Texas, had 6 points yesterday, already above that today. Millhouse finds Roberts in the corner. Much needed 3 for the Tigers. Back down to single digits. Abdullah Roberts, much like A.J. Clark earlier, hitting the 3. Both shooting 29% from deep, but he is looking good from downtown tonight. 29% has equaled 2 makes for Roberts. Joining the starting unit today, playing lots of minutes in the absence of 3 starters for Trinity, who now are back and healthy, but coming off the bench for the moment. A little bit of a stumble there for Williams with the ball. It'll be Ricks late in the shot clock, and somehow floats it down and in. It hung up there forever. Barry coming the other way. Nice finish with his left hand.
And these two offenses seemingly getting revved up. A lot more scoring in the beginning of this half.
A wide open Kelt. Don't want to do that. But a break for the Tigers as Williams unable to connect. Clark analyzing the floor. Swatted down off of a Kelt, and it'll stay with Trinity. Ben Hanley will check in right alongside Tanner Brown. It'll send Millhouse to the bench along with Roberts. So right now you have 4 of the 5 expected starters. When you were looking at the start of the season, Hanley, one of them here, backing down Golazewski. Strong move to the bucket, and 1 for Ben Hanley.
And that's what you need if you're the Tigers. You need to keep up with St. Thomas.
The foul against Golazewski cuts the deficit to 7 for Trinity. Hanley will try to make it 6. He does. Trinity now 4 for their last 4. And the lead for St. Thomas back down to 6 where it was to start this half. Nice job by Trinity weathering the storm to start this half and being right there in it. Just got to stay toe-to-toe with the number 4 team in the nation. Shot clock, half expired. Williams has it as it reaches 10. Harvey in his face, guarding him closely now into Hanley as he lost his dribble. Golazewski's 3 bounces off the rim. Who is it off of? A big call here. And it's staying with St. Thomas.
Unfortunate for Trinity. St. Thomas is going to try and use this to extend their lead.
One of the better defensive possessions we've seen by the Tigers. But the Celts getting their 4th offensive board. And they'll get another opportunity even though Sanchez lost handle of it. 19 seconds left on the shot clock. Ricks checking it in from the baseline. Sanchez backing into Barry. Nowhere to go for Ricks. The seconds are counting down. And Anthony Medina did get a timeout because the 5 seconds were winding down. The defense for Trinity stepping up in these last couple of minutes, Reed.
Yeah, great defensive effort, forcing St. Thomas to call that timeout. A timeout that could become very useful as this game starts to wind down.
I think we get so used to discussing Trinity's high-flying offense that we forget their defense is very solid as well. They allowed just 69 points per game. That is the 3rd best mark in the conference behind people we're now very familiar with. St. Thomas in 1st place, Centenary in 2nd in that category. And they have kept an offense in St. Thomas that likes to put 3s up on the board, likes to put points up as well, to just 40 with 4 minutes through in this second half. Shooting 43% are the Tigers, 47% for the Celts. And Anthony Medina not liking what he is seeing on that baseline look, trying to come up with something. In his 8th year as the head coach, the native of El Paso now calls Houston home. A really unique story in how Anthony Medina got to St. Thomas. He played for St. Thomas back in 2009 when they had not had a basketball program in 25 years. But he gave it a shot. He put his trust into now athletic director Todd Smith's hands. He was the head coach back then, and he helped build the program from scratch. And now, all these years later, 14 to be exact, he finds his team ranked in the top 15 with sights on the postseason. We'll see what Coach Medina drew up for his team out of the timeout. It is number 11 with the ball, now gives it up to Golazewski. Right back to Williams, in and out play. Short for Williams, and he can't buy a bucket right now. Calvin Williams struggling for the Celts. A charging Harvey, tries to get it off the glass, won't, but Barry collects the miss. Still off, though, on the second opportunity. Every chance so crucial for the Tigers, and a missed one there, but they get right back defensively. Sanchez dumps it right back to him, and he'll head to the line. He is executing those bounce passes to perfection so far.
Yeah, excellent ball control. A bit of reverse play there, and the Tigers can do nothing but foul him.
Under 16 minutes here in San Antonio. will lead to the media timeout, even though Medina called the timeout just a few seconds ago. But we'll stay right here on Tiger Network. And a perfect opportunity to highlight one of the leaders on this St. Thomas team, Joshua Sanchez. He's going to come to the line after the timeout. And it really goes with the theme we were setting at the beginning of the broadcast, Reed, which is St. Thomas can finally qualify for the NCAA tournament. And Joshua Sanchez, a senior, is one of the guys Coach Medina says he wants it for the most. He has been in Houston in the program all 4 years. He saw the transition from NAIA to D3, and the way Medina puts it is he, along with a couple of other of his teammates, especially Freddie Ricks, they have won the final game of the year 3 years in a row now, yet they haven't been able to advance. That is not how things typically work, and so he desperately wants his team and his leaders to have an opportunity to keep going, and Joshua Sanchez is really leading the way right now with 6 points in the first half. His season high is 7, so he has a chance to surpass that at the free throw line right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's exciting for him. It's exciting for Coach Medina. And I'm sure Coach Medina is proud of his team for doing so well over these past years.
All right, here we go.
On top of being here for the entire 4 years, he is one of 2 Celts to play in every single game this year. A leader in the locker room, a leader on the court.
Joshua Sanchez. 2 shots.
And out of the timeout, here goes a couple of free throws for number 21, the senior from McAllen, Texas. First free throw, too much on it, off the back iron. Lots of heckles coming from the Trinity faithful, and they work. 2 free throws, no good for Joshua Sanchez. A big clap by him in frustration. And Trinity can continue cutting into this lead that St. Thomas has built. Clark backing down, a behind-the-back pass. Not really what was needed right there. A turnover gives it right back to the Celts. Losing the dribble here was Rick. Sanchez able to collect it, though. Williams over the head pass leads to an open Golazewski. Denies the 3, instead gets an easier 2. Didn't feel the need to force anything up and gets 2. A.J. Clark, top of the key, off to the left, and it'll go to St. Thomas. So A.J. Clark, a turnover and a missed shot on the last 2 possessions. He'll check out, bringing in Caleb Jenkins and Jacob Millhouse.
Yeah, and the Tigers are in a similar position St. Thomas was in the first half. They're down by 8, and St. Thomas was able to overcome their deficit, and now they're looking to them and saying, can you overcome yours?
Millhouse pressuring Golazewski. He's able to get it across after 8 seconds in the backcourt. Now he's lost his dribble. The hands were up for Hanley, but unable to stop a driving Anderson, who continues to shine here tonight. The lead is back to double digits. Barry wants to change that. Can't with that effort, but Trinity will get another shot at it as the ball stays on this end of the court. A scoring drought of 2.5. 0 for their last 4 are the Tigers. Brown from the free throw line goes down, and 1 coming up for Tanner Brown.
Exactly what the Tigers needed there. You can't go too long without scoring.
Team foul number 3 against St. Thomas. Always important to keep an eye on that. And Tanner Brown will head to the line. His first 2 points coming off that shot. Will try to make it 3. Had 10 points and 3 assists yesterday against Centenary. Really looking like the Tanner Brown we've seen over the past 2 years now. But he's unable to connect on that free throw. Lead is 8 for St. Thomas. Williams standing strong in the center of the paint. Forces it back out. St. Thomas resetting the offense. Ricks back up against Williams, and he finishes over him. These Celt offensive players unafraid of the big bodies down low. Jenkins changing directions, nearly lost the ball, but he'll be fouled. Let's see who it ends up being against. Number 5, Kalen Anderson called for the foul. That's his first.
The 4th foul against St. Thomas.
0 Tigers in double-digit scoring. Freddie Ricks the first for the Celts with 12. Crowd goes wild here, but it will not count. The official saying early on that it was a foul on the floor. So still an important foul because that's now 5 on St. Thomas in the half, but it will be an inbounds opportunity, not a free throw. Jenkins responsible. Into Williams. Now Jenkins has it back. Thought about the 3 for a moment. Now cutting the corner. Excellent move, and it drops for him. Caleb Jenkins says, Tanner, you're in the box score now. I want to be too. He gets his first couple. Jenkins and Millhouse pressuring Golazewski off his foot. Golazewski over to Adebo, finds Ricks in the corner. Hanley closes out, and it's swiped by Millhouse, who wins the battle on the sideline. It's the Celts, but they have to put it up. 3 seconds left. Rattles out for Golazewski, and here come the Tigers trying to go quickly. Good job by St. Thomas to get back. Hanley trying to force it again, but Golazewski strips it away. He has 2-on-2, Euro step, and a foul will send him to the line. Zach Golazewski, the senior from the Woodland, seems to be everywhere you turn your head.
Yeah, he's made plenty of shots from the three-point line, and he is a presence on the court. We've been saying his name a lot because he's been doing a lot.
Golazewski, you see him heading to the line, number 13, the senior from the Woodlands, Texas. And a hesitation here. It is Anthony Medina, the head coach, taking a towel and wiping the baseline himself. Not often you see that.
Oh, when you want a job done, do it yourself.
A call of servant leadership coming from the stands, applauding Medina's effort. So, you see, you never know what you're going to see on Tiger Network. Finally, after that break, Golazewski at the line. First free throw, no good for Golazewski, who had 11 points against Schreiner yesterday. He's had 6 games in double digits, and he has really come on this year. After barely playing his first 2 years, not contributing a whole lot last year, he's tripled his scoring average this year from 3 points to a 9-point average. But something is going on at the free throw line for the Celts. They miss a pair there. Trinity with a free opportunity to cut into the lead. Jenkins from 3, short, rebound to Williams, and another shot for Hanley. Still won't fall, even though the momentum itching to be in the favor of Trinity. A jump ball, thanks to Fenn, will send it to St. Thomas. But the Celts are 2 of 8 from the free throw line. Very uncharacteristic for them. They shoot 67% on the year, not the greatest mark. About middle of the pack in the conference, but certainly better than the 25% they're shooting right now. 2 seconds to get it across. They do to win. Fenn right on Golazewski. Anderson denied by Clark. Fenn chases it down, tries to get it off a defender. Didn't matter though because Clark was right there. Brown has numbers on his side of the court, takes it himself, and a foul called on Adebo. Jumping jacks from him, he can't believe it, but it'll send Brown to the line for 2 more after the media timeout we've arrived at. St. Thomas 46, Trinity 38 with 11:39 to go. St. Thomas got a little bit of separation there for a little bit, but it has tightened up, and the Tigers trying to make it even closer here after the timeout.
Yeah, you're watching the two best teams in the conference play each other at their toughest, each at full strength, each with a defensive effort, mostly this time. Very different from what happened yesterday for both these teams.
This is a Trinity Tigers team that has been on a roll. The energy among the team completely shifting during this 9-game winning streak after an 0-2 start in conference play. And a victory over St. Thomas would be crucial for them to keep that going. On the other side, St. Thomas have been in the national conversation now, ranked very highly. And they lost recently to Hardin-Simmons, which shocked many around the country who were keeping an eye on the Celts. That loss by 3 points up in Abilene. And Coach Medina saying, people think I'm crazy for saying this, but I think that loss was really good for our team. He didn't like the effort and the energy that they were giving against Hardin-Simmons. He felt they were a little bit complacent, and he appreciated that that loss now shows his team that on any given night, if they slip up and don't bring their best, they can lose to anyone. And that was just their second loss of the year, and they have not lost since, so maybe that message really getting through to the Celts. Out of the timeout, Tanner Brown, a free throw, bounces in, friendly roll. For the beginning of the season, Tanner Brown was the leading scorer for the Tigers before that calf injury sidelined him for nearly a month. But it is so great to have him back and contributing. 2 more from the free throw line, and the lead is 6 for St. Thomas. The pressure continues from Trinity's defense. Ricks loses his dribble in the backcourt. Trinity meets the defender, but the Celts do get it across. Now half the shot clock is down, however. The Celts having to work extremely hard just to get their offense set. Jenkins right on top of the freshman. Johnson having a hard time seeing, down to 5. Adebo intercepted by Tanner Brown. Jenkins in transition pulls up from 3, short again for Jenkins. This crowd is ready to erupt, but the 3-point shot's not falling for the Tigers. Anderson posting up Clark over the top. Board fought for and gotten by Brown before a whistle to stop play. A.J. Clark takes a big hit, needs some help getting up.
Looked like he got hit in the face on that last play.
There's some calls on the court for them to look at how he got fouled. Some people believe he took an elbow, and the officials have called a timeout to take a look at it. So we'll step aside briefly on Tiger Network, see what the officials come up with.
Officials review.
Welcome back to Tiger Network. The decision is there was no foul that led to Clark being on the ground. Play will continue as is. Officials still clarifying with both coaches, it looks like. But it should be Trinity basketball down 6 with 10:41 to go. Trinity led for much of the first half before St. Thomas closed on a 9-0 run to go up 6 into the locker room, and ever since then it has been the Celts on top. Tigers working hard to change that momentum though. Tanner Brown in the corner here, drives, now spins it back around. Jenkins out to Clark, across the court to Hanley, and they're going to call Hanley for a push-off. No. That's what Hanley thought. He gasped when he saw that call.
Number 3, Ben Hanley is second. Team foul number 4.
No, there's a little confusion here in the gym. They called the foul on Hanley in the arena, but it looks like the official meant to call it on St. Thomas. They're going to correct it here. Let's see. Play really coming to a standstill here in the last couple of minutes.
Fouls on number 3, Andrew Adibo.
The foul was on number 3, Andrew Adibo. 1-1 coming up for Hanley. Gets the 1, earns the 2.
Ben Hanley at the line.
With 10:25 to go, though, a big development for Trinity. They will shoot free throws the rest of the way. They take advantage here, knocks down both of them, does Hanley, and the deficit is down to 4. All sorts of playing time left in San Antonio, shaping up to be an incredible final 10 minutes. Fenn and Brown get the ball past them to win. Now Ricks has it to set up the offense. Johnson deep in the lane, kicks it to win. It'll be Fricks from 3. The board offensively and the foul earned by Kalen Anderson. So no Bucks out there on the 6'5 forward, and it allows him to get 2 opportunities at the charity stripe.
Yeah, good defense from the Tigers.
Short on the free throw, and the Celts free throw curse continues. 2 of 9 so far today. Anderson coming off that first double-double of the year. His season high up until yesterday was 15 against these Trinity Tigers back on December 4th, but he surpassed that with 19 against the Mountaineers. Trying to get the second free throw to go and cannot. That is 6 free throws in a row missed by St. Thomas, really keeping the Tigers in the game. Can they capitalize? Fenn cuts in from the corner, goes strong, and puts it in for 2. Into the chest of Golazewski. He's looking for a foul and won't get it. Coach Smith wants a delay of game call as the ball rolled along the baseline. No can do, but the Tigers are within 2 all of a sudden. Chance of defense raining down Calgar Gym. Fenn in the face of Ricks. Win now in the corner. Took a pivot, now to Sanchez. It'll be Golazewski deep down for 3. Big time shot for the senior to quiet down this crowd. Extend the lead back to 5. Hanley going quickly the other way. Blocked, but fouled.
Yeah, fouled there. And St. Thomas, that was some big points because they had been quiet on offense for about 2 or 3 minutes.
Team foul number 8. This is a shooting foul, though, so it'll be 2 free throws no matter what. Hanley with 9 points. Stays there after the first missed free throw. But certainly the surest sign that he is back feeling good with his ankle is what he just did, wasting 0 time getting down across the court and getting to the bucket with ease to earn these free throws. Trying to convert on his second. He does, and the lead is 4. 49-45, St. Thomas with 9:07 to go. Hanley nearly takes it away there, but the Celts keep it. Golazewski loses his dribble, gets it to Johnson. Celts safely across the timeline. And a foul called on Zach Fenn. Just the 14th foul for Trinity, so they have some to play with.
Team foul number 5, in for the Tigers, Braxton Berry.
Braxton Berry will make his re-entrance into the game, checking in for Tanner Brown. A much bigger lineup now for Braxton Berry. All 6'8" of him. Sanchez has gone quiet in the second half. He goes right at Berry. And he'll get a trip to the line immediately after Berry checks in. Medina and Sanchez saying, okay, try us. We'll send it right to him. And 2 more free throws for the Celts.
It'll be 2 shots for Joshua Sanchez.
Sanchez missed his last 2 free throws. Make it 3 in a row. And there seems to be a lid on the basket that must be lowered every time the Celts are shooting free throws. 2 of 11. And they have not made one in distant memory until now. Finally, a free throw goes to get the lead back up to 5. But if the Tigers are able to come back in this one, look no further than the free throw line. Fenn controlling the offense now, gets it into the hands of Clark. Sets the screen for his teammate, does Fenn. And it's swiped away by Ricks. And it looks like he was fouled from behind in fast break. The far side official calling the foul on 22, Clark.
Number 22, A.J. Clark, his second. That's team foul number 7.
And St. Thomas will be going to the free throw line.
Freddie Ricks, 1 and 1.
So we had just said they have a few fouls to play with, but they played with them too quickly, already getting them up to 7. Either that or they were a bit behind on the stat update. Either way, a free throw good for Freddie Ricks. One of those other 2 that Coach Medina really wants the postseason appearance for. Both free throws good for St. Thomas, so maybe the spell lifted at the free throw line as 3 in a row get the lead to 7. The Tigers had cut it to 2. They were playing aggressively, especially on the defensive end, but the Celts quieting Calgard for the moment. Braxton Berry swings it to Clark. Top of the key now, Fenn. Overhead to Hanley. All in the air, brought in by Fenn. Tough spot, Clark for 3. No good. And a reverse box out for Golazewski, blocking Fenn from diving for that ball out of bounds. And it'll send the ball to St. Thomas and send us into a media timeout. St. Thomas 52, Trinity 45 with 7:55 to go in San Antonio. Still anybody's game, but St. Thomas showing why they're so tough, so battle-tested this year.
Yeah, they have really improved in this second half. And Trinity, the scoring has seemed to die down just a little bit, and St. Thomas is getting their groove back on. We'll see if Trinity can keep up with them.
You see that 15-2 record for St. Thomas. You see that number 14 ranking, and that alone says a lot. But if you dive even deeper into the numbers, you see how much more impressive the season St. Thomas has been. You look at the schedule that they have played out of conference, and you will notice that they've played all 4 other teams in the West region, which is our region, that are in the G3Hoops.com poll. They went 3-1 in those games, beating Claremont Mudscripts, Redlands, or they lost to Redlands, they beat CMS, beat UT Dallas, and beat ETBU, all in the span of 9 days. And so they have not taken it easy out of conference. They really challenged themselves, went 3-1 against those top 4 teams in the region, and it has resulted in a team that knows how to win tough games late.
Yeah, and they've really earned their ranking in the polls.
Now, one thing you will look at, half of those victories, 8 of them to be exact, have been by single digits. So they haven't been blowing many people out, but they seem to know how to win, and that is just as important as blowing people out. But out of the timeout, maybe a shift in energy to the Tigers, an offensive foul called on number 10, Angel Johnson. And you see the freshman from Houston receiving words of advice from the senior. A little pat on the chest saying, "You're good, just move on." But the Tigers do now have the ball with 7:40 to go. Harvey has an opening from 3. Won't go. And he has been quiet ever since we highlighted him to start this half. 0 points to start this second half. The leading scorer was a focus of the Celts defense coming in, and it's worked so far. Sanchez touch pass to Anderson, takes contact in the back, no foul, but 2 points for Anderson. The lead is 9, and the Tigers are going to have to find a burst quickly if they want to topple the Giant. Hanley trying to do his part, his 3 falling short, and the 3-point shot just not there for the Tigers. 5 of 23 for a 22% rate. Sanchez back to the basket, now turns around. Spin move around Barry. What a finish for Joshua Sanchez, now firmly above his season high. Had been 6, is now 9 for the senior. Ball gets away from Barry. Loose ball belongs to Trinity. But the offense really has disappeared for Trinity. No points in the last 2.5 minutes, Reed. Very unlike this Trinity team, but credit to this stellar St. Thomas defense.
Absolutely. And now, with this lead ever expanding, Trinity needs to use this opportunity to put some points on the board.
The Celts have held 6 opponents this year under 60 points, almost unthinkable with the games we get to see here on Tiger Network. But with just 45 points, the Tigers are threatening to be under that mark with 6 minutes to go. We'll see if Clark can get them going. Still off the front rim. Many of these 3-point shots have been short. Maybe on the second night of a back-to-back, their legs not quite underneath the Tigers. Because those deep shots not being answered. St. Thomas now able to take their time, tick down the clock. Adebo into Roberts. Ricks thought about the 3, gets a better shot to Anderson, and it is nothing but the bottom for Kalen Anderson. The lead growing to 13, and it'll only get worse for the Tigers. Head down for Clark off that errant pass. And it's a 13-point deficit with 5:35 to go. Energy not quite here in Calgar Gym like it was last night. We had flags waving, the wave rolling. But these Celts know a hostile environment when they see one, and they know how to quiet it. The defensive intensity still there for the Tigers, but Golazewski has become familiar with it. Now Johnson, after committing an offensive foul, did he learn his lesson? Does get it out to Ricks. Johnson loses that pass. Here come the Tigers, fast break. Harvey, too strong this time. Brown fights for the board. Looks like they're going to call him out of bounds. Or will they? Looks like they're actually going to keep it here with Trinity. So a break for Brown and the Tigers. Looking for anything to end this 9-0 run that the Celts have gone on. 0 for their last 5, 1 for their last 9. They desperately need this one. It bounces off the rim, high off the glass, and it won't matter anyway because there's a foul away from the ball. A Trinity offense that is so used to running the floor with ease, it looks silky smooth. They've been grinded to a complete and utter halt. Ricks to Anderson, sweeping across. Sanchez having the game of his season. It continues. Double digits for Joshua Sanchez now. 11 points, 5 assists, a couple of boards. And if Medina wants it for Joshua Sanchez, I think Joshua Sanchez wants it for Joshua Sanchez. A charge going to be called on St. Thomas in the fast break, giving it back to Trinity, but they are down 15 with 4:14 to go.
Yeah, and if you're Trinity, you see St. Thomas is starting to pull away. If you're the Tigers, you need to put points on the board and keep up with them. Otherwise, St. Thomas can write this one off in the win column.
Brown comes across the screen, top of the key. 3 is off. Stop me if you've heard it before. Now 5 for 27, and a timeout will come on the floor with exactly 4 minutes to go. St. Thomas 60, Trinity 45. A tough hill to climb. It's definitely doable if you look at the score from just yesterday, Reed. If you want to give some hope to Tiger fans, the St. Thomas Celts were in the hill country. They beat Schreiner by 5. Which you might be fooled into thinking was a very close game all along, but it was not the case. They were up by 16 with 3:09 to go, and the Mountaineers nearly got it all the way back. And so with 4 minutes to go, down 15, very similar spot, Tigers can definitely do it, but they need to play pretty perfectly to finish it up.
Yeah, the Tigers are a team that can play perfectly and accomplish that, but they really need to come out of this timeout and start firing up some shots, getting some in the bucket, because right now the offense has been very quiet.
There are so many numbers that you can always look at in a game to try to tell the story, but one that immediately stands out: 4 fast break points for the Trinity Tigers. Unheard of for them. They love to go quickly, to push the ball in a hurry, and Coach Medina foreshadowed it. He said, you have to get back defensively. You have to get back and get in position quickly against this Trinity team to beat them. And it's clear that that message was ingrained into the minds of the Celts, because they have held the Tigers to what is a season-low 4 fast break points so far. And unless something changes very quickly, it'll be a season-low overall point total as well. Fenn takes a little slip on the inbounds, but it still ends up with Trinity. Roberts takes a big-time hit to the chest. Very weird inbound there, Reed.
Yeah, it just slipped out of the hands of the Celts player and caused a collision.
Yeah, it slipped out of his hands away from the ball. Fenn slipped on his own, so you thought the Celts might have an advantage going the other way. Instead, 2 free throws for Roberts, trying to gather himself after a shot to the center of his body. Abdullah Roberts, a couple of threes early on, has been quiet since then. 6 points to go along with 3 rebounds.
Fouls number 13, Zach Goloszewski, his second.
Second foul against Goloszewski. And if you've been following Trinity basketball for some time now, you might recognize Abdullah Roberts as the big shot king. He always seems to come through when it matters most. Think back to that TLU buzzer beater a couple of seasons ago. He's had a couple of shots this year against Hardin Simmons that come to mind. And recently over that Christmas Classic break, and asked him if there's anything to it as he hits his second free throw. He just says he stays ready no matter what is going on in a game. He says the ball seems to find him at the end of the game, and he just feels fortunate that it goes through. Comes up with 2 big free throws to cut the deficit to 13, and they'll need a whole lot more of that with under 4 to go. Shot clock down to 5. Goloszewski sees it. Top of the key 3, rims out. Roberts gathers the clean glass. Don't often see him play point across the floor, but he does. Gets it to Jenkins. Step back mid-range. It's good for Caleb Jenkins. Nice looking shot for number 5. And it's down to 11. Fenn audibly frustrated by not getting a steal. Celts cross it into half court, and they set up their offense with 15 to go on the shot clock. Anderson, nice spin, robbed by Millhouse, dive to the floor by Jenkins. Medina wants a timeout, but it's a jump ball, and it is black basketball.
Yeah, Trinity starting to play more aggressively on defense. They need to. There's not that much time left, and they need 11 points.
It is Zach Fenn, Abdullah Roberts, Caleb Jenkins, Tanner Brown, and Jacob Millhouse. And again, Medina is cleaning up the floor himself. Now getting a mop there is Seth Asbury, Director of Facilities here at Trinity. But Medina not messing around when it comes to keeping his players ready and safe. So after the mop-up duty, Roberts checks it in to Fenn, who will run the point here on the possession. Now hands it off to Tanner Brown. Circular movement for the Tigers. Millhouse right back to Tanner. Millhouse. Tanner playing a two-man game. Now Fenn gets involved. Drops it off for Brown. Roberts. Lots of cutting in from the three-point line. And a blocking foul. Nice break for Roberts and the Tigers as Joshua Sanchez got there in time, but maybe was moving a little bit.
Foul number 21. Joshua Sanchez is third.
We'll get a look at this replay here. Sanchez did have pretty good position there and looked firm, but the referee saying blocking foul on him, and now Zach Fenn taking over as the cleanup crew. Do whatever you're called upon to do, right, Reed?
Right, he gets a round of applause from the crowd for that one. And that was Sanchez's third foul.
Free throw down and through for Roberts. Made 3 in a row to get his total up closer to double digits. Jim going silent for the free throws, and helping their team out are the Tiger faithful. 4 free throws in a row thanks to Abdullah Roberts, and the lead down to 9 with 2:20 to go in San Antonio. St. Thomas has led this entire half, and before a 10-second call gets them, they call a timeout, and Tiger fans along with Jimmy Smith are livid, because you see 20 seconds exactly on the shot clock. That would seem to signal 10 seconds have gone by. But just at first glance, it did look like the official called for a timeout with about 21 seconds left. So I think this is the right call here for St. Thomas.
Yeah. And if you're Trinity, it's not like this is a completely bad thing. You make St. Thomas waste a timeout that they could have to take later on in the game. And when the game's coming down to the wire like this, every timeout counts.
You also get a chance to draw up a play if you're Jimmy Smith, talk about the defense and the offense in the ensuing possession, as the Tigers try to pull off a miraculous comeback against a team that has proven to be a worthy rival. Just down I-10, Jimmy Smith saying there is no point in beating around the bush and not addressing the elephant in the room. Centenary and St. Thomas were the two teams that beat Trinity in December, and they wanted to get them back come January. They already got Centenary back. It's looking a little tougher to get revenge on St. Thomas, but one thing we know for sure, these players are very aware of who they are playing and what this game means.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all you have to do is look at the standings. You see Trinity and St. Thomas, and this game has really looked like a top game in the conference.
Absolutely. St. Thomas 9-0 in the SCAC. Trinity not far behind at 7-2. A win here would pull Trinity within 1, but a win for St. Thomas really separates themselves from the rest of the conference. They'd have a 3-game margin on Trinity, a 3-game margin on Centenary, and they currently hold the tiebreaker. And out of the timeout, the Celts got it in the backcourt, but with the timeout, no violation called. The tough defense continues as the shot clock trickles down to 6. And a foul will bail out the Celts.
Foul is on number 5, Caleb Jenkins. That's his second, team foul number 8.
Team foul number 8 on Trinity. It goes against Caleb Jenkins. So a 1-and-1 coming up for St. Thomas, unless they decided that he was in the act of shooting, which it looks like they did, because he'll get a second one. They've gotten better from the free throw line this half, but it's still been a storyline. 5 of 15 for the Celts. Get a make there to bring it to 10 with 2 minutes to go. Can the Tigers pull off the comeback? Millhouse steps in from the free throw line and gets a bucket. Full court press gets ready. Fenn is back to the inbounder.
Tiger basket, Jacob Millhouse.
Golozewski in possession of it. Lots of contact, and Fenn will get the foul called on him. Although with one more foul to give in terms of not entering the double bonus quite yet, not the worst foul in the world, especially with how the Celts have been shooting from the free throw line. 6 of 16 for a 38% free throw percentage. And it's up to the senior from the Woodlands to try to expand the lead. He does by 1 and earns a second shot. Coach Medina saying Golozewski went from not playing to being the quarterback of this offense. And a very fitting comparison considering the NFL playoffs are happening as we speak, but I will argue there is more action here at CalGuard Gym than anywhere around the country. Jenkins finishes strong with 2. So the lead continues to hover at 10. And now 8 for St. Thomas. Haven't been able to cross that hump, but Trinity fighting for every second and every point here.
Yeah, and they really need to. We're coming down to the wire. They're down by 8. And with 1:27 left, they need to make use of every second. This is going to be the fastest you've seen the Trinity offense all year at home.
They're still well below their average of 77 points a game. But that's what St. Thomas does to you. They have played their style, and the game is going exactly how Anthony Medina wanted it to go. With just 1:27, his team up 8. Might be a long, drawn-out finish if the teams take more trips to the free throw line. You get excellent looks from our roaming camera back in action on Tiger Network. Wasn't in action during the break, but now with students back operating every position, we've been able to add that little bonus to the broadcast, which we're so happy to bring you. Tanner Brown defending Johnson. Now Golozewski back with it. Clears Fenn, nearly loses it. Johnson right along the timeline. Sanchez escapes with the ball. For the first time all game, we've seen Luke Ramirez. He just had the ball, the freshman from Cyprus. He has the ball here. A three-pointer for him, short. Big rebound by Roberts. Lost it for a moment, but Brown right there. Under a minute to go, down 8 are the Tigers. They have to hurry. Brown spinning inside. Roberts finds Fenn. Got to go up with it soon. Roberts from deep. Way off the side of the rim. And with 40 seconds to go, St. Thomas still clinging on to an 8-point lead.
Yeah, and if you're Trinity, that series lasted a very long time. They cut off a lot of time on that clock.
Long court heave. Speaking of football, Sanchez with the reception, and Ricks firmly with it as the clock just keeps on ticking. A foul on Fenn will send the Celts back to the line. And I think everyone in the gym can sense what has gone on and what is going on. Team foul number 10 means 2 free throws no matter what for Freddie Ricks.
Line for 2, Freddie Ricks.
Freddie Ricks, the senior leader on a team that lost as much as a team can possibly lose. Cameron Gims, the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Christian Alakwe, the SCAC Player of the Year a year ago. And yet here the Celts are undefeated in conference play, number 14 in the country, and just 28 seconds away from snapping Trinity's 9-game winning streak. Harvey has been scoreless all second half, back in there for these final seconds. Brown goes up with the 3. Millhouse gets the board, puts it up for 2 more. But too little too late, unless 14 seconds seems like enough time to get 8 points for the Tigers. And we highlighted some stats earlier, like the fast break points that tell a story. And I don't know if you agree with me, Reed, but an even bigger story as it has developed. 5 for 29 from deep for the Tigers.
Absolutely. These Tigers that thrive from the three-point line have been wildly inaccurate tonight. And we talked about St. Thomas, how they haven't been doing all that good from the free throw line. But for the Tigers, whose three-pointers are a bigger part of their offense, shooting for 17%, you can't do that.
It's exactly half of their season average, 34%. Good enough for second best in the conference. But they've had to heave up a lot of them here, especially in the second half, just trying to claw their way back. And they've been off the mark, many of them short. A timeout called on the inbounds. Angel Johnson not wanting to turn it over in that spot, so Medina will have one more conversation at least with his team. With 14 seconds to go on the clock, some folks starting to file out of CalGuard Gym, but want to take this time to thank everybody for watching on Tiger Network. It's been such a fun weekend, starting yesterday against Centenary and through today with St. Thomas. And thanks to everyone for showing up in CalGuard Gym. I know getting to be at practice with the men's and the women's team, talking to both head coaches. The theme throughout was just utter excitement and joy at getting to play in front of their students and their fellow peers. And it's been a fun weekend all along in CalGuard Gym, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been super fun. We've had 4 amazing games, things that we've never seen before. And when the Tigers get back home, I think we're going to have some more fun ones.
It'll be a little bit before they're back home, 3 weeks, because they have a break, and then they'll face Shriner up in Kerrville and Colorado up in the Rocky Mountain State. But then once they're back home on February 2nd, they are back home for good. Final 4 regular season games at home, and then the SCAC tournament right here in CalGuard Gym. A push on Ricks will send him to the free throw line. He'll take a waltz over there. And a couple of free throws for number 1. But as we mentioned that SCAC tournament, I think a lot of us here would love to see a 3rd iteration of St. Thomas and Trinity, or as we have called it now, the Battle for I-10.
Yeah, the battle for I-10, I think, is the best rivalry in this conference right now. I think this game is further proof of that.
Ever since they joined Division III and the conference, St. Thomas has wanted to make some noise. I think back to a conversation with their volleyball coach, Kian Burt. Really stands out to me. We just want to make a little noise and let everybody know we're here. Well, it applies to basketball as well. And I'd say a 10-0 start to conference play certainly qualifies as noise. That last rim out for Brown, then a follow-up by Jenkins will give Trinity some more points. But at the end of the day, it is just some icing on a cake that was not very sweet for the Trinity Tigers tonight. A 67-59 victory for the St. Thomas Celts. The number 14 in the country, number 14 team in the country remains unbeaten in conference play, and they looked impressive from the start. Took a little bit of a beating in the first 10 minutes, but really after that 9-minute mark of the first half, a 9-0 run to finish, and they never looked back, never gave up the lead in the second half.
Yeah, and the Celts, they made their adjustments, and they got past Trinity. Trinity's vaunted defense, Trinity's explosive offense, and the Celts, credit to them. They figured out the puzzle that is the Trinity Tigers.
Freddie Ricks, the senior from Cypress, Texas, led the way for the Celts. 18 points, added 3 rebounds and 3 assists, 2 steals for good measure as well. Zach Golazewski and Joshua Sanchez in double digits. Sanchez, should note once again, is season high with those 11 points. For the home Tigers, wasn't the offense they're used to. Had 2 end up in double digits, Abdullah Roberts and Ben Hanley, but not the noise we're used to seeing from the likes of A.J. Clark and Jacob Harvey. Really shut down by the elite defense of the Celts. But wow, 4 games in about 24 hours here on Tiger Network. and it's been a ton of fun. Get a look at us here in the broadcast booth. We have so much fun bringing you all of these games. So again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all the students who run this broadcast, every camera angle, every button being pushed to send a replay, put a graphic up, enter a stat. It takes a lot, and so thank you very much to all of you for being back, and thank you for tuning in. I have it right here in front of me, December 10th. Put it on your calendars. Dallas will be in town to face the women and the men of Trinity. Until then, for Reed Rosales, I'm Brian Yanselson. Have a superb Saturday night.
"2022 put Trinity University on a new stage. Here, on the national level, the lights are brighter, the stakes are higher, our voices reach further. There's no script for this type of moment, and at Trinity, that's how we've always shined. We are led beyond the conventional by an inexhaustible curiosity, a sense of perpetual discovery where no answer is too tough to question, and no question is too big to answer. We do not settle for textbook definitions of scholarship and achievement. We redefine the liberal arts. We strive for an inclusive excellence that wastes no potential and leaves no tiger behind. Connected to our community of supporters. Connected to our place in a vibrant city, not only by the legacy of what we have been, but also by a joint vision for what we now can be. A united force in motion. A university who imbues its people with an ability to perform and transform in unprecedented and unexpected ways. Now nationally ranked, reclassified, and under the guidance of a new president, Trinity stands on a new platform. But we are still speaking, as we always have, from the heart. And we are still standing on a rock-solid foundation, raised by generations of inspired hands and minds before us. Our stage is boundless. Our future is unscripted. Now watch us shine.
I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who think critically, act meaningfully, and contribute confidently throughout their careers. As for San Antonio, Trinity is an oasis in the heart of a city that serves as a cultural bridge to the Americas. We are a diverse community that values inclusion and welcomes intellectual curiosity and spirited debate. We're a city that challenges convention and welcomes new ideas. Great things are happening at Trinity University, in San Antonio, and through all our connections to our multicultural world. Join me in being part of this exciting moment.